Legacy Maker, the All Sports Network.
Welcome to the 101. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the proof. Welcome to the 101. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the proof. Welcome to 101 at Legacy Maker Sports Network.
Welcome, everybody. It's your boy, Darrell Owens, and this is another edition of 101 here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network. This time, we're doing a quick ones edition of 101, doing our top 10 quarterbacks heading into the 2021 NFL season with this NFL Legacy Maker special. I'm so glad to be with you all today as we are about to get into this thing. What's up? It's good to see y'all, everybody. It's been a while. We haven't done a one-on-one since May, so we're back with this one-on-one special. Before we get back to our third season of action, we got some names coming up on that season, so just be ready, be prepared. It's going to be a fun one coming your way here in the next couple of months. Other things to watch out for here in the next couple of weeks, we're going to have our NFL prediction special with a couple of the people here on the network. We're going to break that down here in the next couple of weeks, so be on the lookout for that. The Legacy Maker Sports Podcast with myself and Jeremiah Quimby will return for the NFL season, so be ready for that. We'll be starting that in the next couple of weeks to get that bad boy going as well. So very excited to see things rocking and rolling here. Hoping to also bring you coverage from UVA as well as the Washington football team this season. So be on the lookout for all of that fun stuff. Now, before we get started with today's episode, and I just want to take the time to give love to a dear friend who passed away last week, Mr. Andre Williams-Bey. It was a very tough week last week, losing such a wonderful person, a guy who has helped this network grow. We were partners, in this media game. He had a great company with Dream Pro Productions who were, making moves, making strides, and starting to really take off. He did our first draft special. We've done some Richmond Black Widows games together. We've done a lot together. We've traveled to Orlando on a night swoop to go do a championship game. We've done so much together, especially in this business. But more than that, he was a friend. We always talk trash to each other, making fun of each other because he was a Vikings fan and I'm a Packers fan. But in the end, a wonderful person, human being, husband, father, brother, son, you name it. That's what he was. This hurts more than I can go on about, but I had to make sure that I give this man some love because I can just hear him say, all right, yo, D, you got this. So, yo, Andre, I got this, brother. We're going to make this thing happen. And thank you for everything that you have done for myself and for the Legacy Maker Sports Network. Rest in peace, brother. All right, everybody, we're going to get this bad boy started here on this top 10 countdown. Now, this one for me it was a little bit difficult. I've been working on this for a couple of weeks because I wanted to make sure I bring the heat for you on this one. Now, I know a lot of people are not going to like what I have to say, but that's okay. We're still going to make the dream work anyway. But I think I'm going to bring logic to this dream. And I think that you guys are going to be like, well, maybe not so bad. Maybe not so bad after all. So before we get this top 10 rocking and knocking them out for you, we're going to start off with the outside looking in. I got 5 quarterbacks that I think that could potentially make their way into this top 10 before the end of the season. So, there'll be guys to look out for. Now, one of them is a wild card, but that's for other reasons. So let's go ahead and look at the outside looking in. So here they are, the quarterbacks on the outside looking in of the top 10. First, we got Mr. Justin Herbert. Amazing year last year with the LA Chargers. Had a 6-9 record. The record not so hot, but nevertheless a 31 touchdown season, 10 interceptions, 4,336 yards on the season for Mr. Justin Herbert. There's a lot of expectation for this young man this year. A lot of people feel like he's going to be the breakout star coming into this season, and he's got all the intangibles to do just that. Let's see if the coaching, if the players on his offensive side can stay healthy, if the defense can stay healthy. Let's see what Justin Herbert can do. Next, we got Mr. Joe Burrow, also coming into his second year. His record was 2-7-1 in his first season. He went for 13 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and 2,600 yards passing last season before that injury in the Washington game that took him out for the rest of the season. But the guy's got potential. His former college teammate at LSU, Jamar Chase, is joining a really nice young receiving core with him, T. Higgins, and, of course, Mr. Tyler Boyd. So they've got a nice little thing going there on the offensive side of the ball. Let's see if they can get things going this year. Then I go to two of the vets. First, you got Big Ben. Now, Big Ben has been around a long time. He's a 2-time Super Bowl champion. Last year, led Pittsburgh to a amazing record. He went 12-3 at the quarterback helm last year, 33 touchdowns and 10 interceptions with 3,800 yards plus through the air. Big Ben had a lot of, things going on last year. He was trying to get things going for this team. And you were thinking, well, with Darrell, they were 11-0 at one point. They started fading back, and just something didn't click in that playoff game against Cleveland, and we saw what the results were from there. But Big Ben this offseason was debating if he was going to come back. Goes down, trims up big time. He is really trimmed down. We're going to see if that's going to correlate on the field and see if Pittsburgh can make another run here and maybe clean up some of the mess they did towards the end of this season. Next, we got Mr. Matt Ryan. Now, Mr. Matt Ryan, former NFL MVP. Last year, Atlanta went 4-12 on the season. He had 26 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, but he threw for 4,500 yards. So, Matt Ryan is always going to put up numbers, in my opinion. He's been doing it for years. And so he's always a 4,000-yard plus guy. I don't see that not happening this year with Calvin Ridley and then the addition of Kyle Pitts, who is going to take over for Julio Jones, and that's going to be big footsteps. But I've got to say one thing to Mr. Kyle Pitts: use your own path, young man. Use your own path. And then last but not least, in the outside looking in, would be Mr. Deshaun Watson. This one is tough because with everything going on, the allegations of sexual harassment that have been tossed Deshaun Watson's way, it has been a tumultuous offseason for Deshaun Watson. It all started off with a trade request that has now put himself in a position where over, I believe, 20 women have come out and said that there was some type of sexual harassment or some type of harassment going on. So with Deshaun Watson here, you got to feel you really don't know what to feel, because you don't know if he's going to play this year or if this year will be a sit-out year. So for us, or for me, I should say, I got him in the outside looking in, because if he plays this season, Deshaun Watson is going to do Deshaun Watson things. He's been doing it for years. I mean, last year, to throw for 33 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, to throw for 4,800 yards, and with that record that they had going 4-12, in Houston. And we'll see. We don't know if he's going to be in Houston. We don't know if he's going to be anywhere else. We've heard rumors to Philadelphia. We've heard rumors to the Dolphins at points. We don't know. So he's the wild card in the outside looking in. We'll see if Deshaun Watson will make an appearance this season. All right, y'all. So we got the outside looking in. So you know who I think could be peeking into that top 10 before the end of the season. But now we're going to swing to the top 10. Now, with this top 10, these are guys who have been producing. They've been making strides. Some of them well, I will say, you know, in a lot of people's books probably wouldn't be in the top 10, but for my reasonings, I think that these guys really are truly going to make big moves this year for their respective teams. So let's go ahead and get this thing started. Number 10 on the list, Mr. Ryan Tannehill. Last season, Ryan Tannehill led this Tennessee Titans team to an 11-5 record with 3,800 yards, 33 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. Now, Ryan Tannehill, every year that he has been in Tennessee, has done good things for this Tennessee Titans team. They have made the playoffs each year that he's been there. They've won the division each year that he's been there. And so they've done a really good job of finding the talents that Ryan Tannehill has had. Now, I'm going to say this about Ryan Tannehill that a lot of people are going to be like, what are you talking about? But even in those last couple of years in Miami, Ryan Tannehill had started to come along. Some of the numbers weren't there, but he had really started coming along. He really started showing that he could be a good quarterback in the NFL. And now going on year 3 in Tennessee, he's got Julio Jones now, which they got via trade in the offseason. This could be a big year for this Tennessee Titans team. Then they lost Corey Davis, but when you get Julio Jones in return, you're going to be all right. They lost Juno Smith at the tight end position. So, that'll hurt a little bit. And of course, you still have Derrick Henry. Will the defense be able to step up? We will see. But Ryan Tannehill is number 10 on my list. And I think that he'll have another solid year for the Tennessee Titans. Next on the list, number 9, Mr. Baker Mayfield. I know this is probably going to be the one that people will be like, you must be tripping. But Baker led the Cleveland Browns to the playoffs. Yes, he led them to the playoffs. He got them in there. And for me, that means a lot. That means a lot. A franchise that has only made the playoffs once since they have come back into the league back in 99. And so it's a big deal. Now, that's not the only reason why he's a top 10 quarterback. The numbers last year were solid. 3,500 yards, 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. I felt like last year he started to really show a little bit of that Heisman flair the year he won the Heisman. And I think that he's starting to really become a leader on that Cleveland Browns team. People trust him. The players, from what I can tell, love him. They love their quarterback, and that's a huge thing. They got a lot of expectations this year. This is going to be a big year for Baker Mayfield. Plus, there's money on the line. If he wants to get that contract extension, this is going to be it. You've seen Josh Allen get the contract extension, and Josh Allen also was in that draft along with Baker. So, he's going to be thinking about it on the outside looking in. So we'll see if that is something that will motivate Baker this season. But I got him at number 9 on this countdown. Now, the next guy on our list, number 8, Mr. Kyler Murray. All right. Now, Kyler was my breakout star last year. At the beginning of the season, I predicted him to be the breakout star and really take things over. Now, if you look at the record, you're going to be like, Darrell, maybe not so much. He went 8-8, but there was a couple times that this Cardinals team had a chance to really, really take things to the next level. And I think they're still learning. With Cliff Kingsbury there, I think they're trying to still get things, together. But they've made some, moves in the off seasons, bringing AJ Green in. They brought in JJ Watt, to bring on that, to help that defense out. They lost Patrick Peterson. Of course, you got D-Hop. And, this team is going to be ready to rock and roll. Still haven't heard any word on Larry Fitzgerald if he's going to decide to come back. It's really late, and we haven't heard the word from Larry Fitzgerald just yet. But anywho, Kyler Murray has shown that he can do some really impressive things out there in Arizona. 39, almost 4,000 yards last year. He had 3,900 yards, 26 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. So Kyler Murray, for me, another chance to break out just a little bit more this season. Watch out for Kyler Murray. He will be my number 8 guy. Now, this one here, Mr. Lamar Jackson at 7. Lamar Jackson, in a lot of people's books, is going to be higher on this list. But for me, I look at this and say, well, until they can get better receivers around Lamar, I don't know if he'll ever, jump into that spot. You know what I'm saying? Look at what has happened, over the last couple of years. You know, he's been the MVP, and people were like, man, what a great year. He deserved it, every bit of it. Now, last season comes, I thought he would regress a little bit. Numbers weren't great. 2,700 yards, 26 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 11-4 record, which is most important of all of that. But I feel like if he can get a true number one receiver, someone that can, he can just toss the ball up to, someone that he can trust wholeheartedly, this will make Lamar Jackson, this will push Lamar Jackson into that top 5, if not top 3 quarterback in seasons to come. Now, I love the addition of Rashad Bateman, great young receiver from Minnesota. He's injured right now, but once he comes back, we can see some really good things there. Mark Andrews is going to do his thing at tight end. Hollywood Brown has shown flashes that he could be a really good receiver. I personally don't think he's a number 1. I think he's a number 2. But he, did do some good things for the Ravens last year. If you're the Ravens, do whatever it takes. Do whatever it takes to find him a true number 1 receiver. I know they tried to get some people in the offseason. It didn't work out too hot, but you got to do something. You got to make a move. You got to make a trade. Help Lamar Jackson be a top 3 quarterback. Next, we head to number 6 and Mr. Dak Prescott. And I look at Dak Prescott and I see a guy who's hungry, who wants to win, and is ready to make the next step in his career. He got paid last season, so he's solid. He good to go. He ready. He got his dough. The injury last year, before the injury last year, he was tearing it up. Like 400-yard games. The record wasn't too hot. He was 2-3, but he had 9 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. But he was really getting that offense going. And with those 3 wide receivers, with Gallup and Lamb, and of course Cooper, I mean, just dangerous. You got 2 running backs with Pollard and Zeke. With Zeke, who lost weight, as you can tell during Hard Knocks, he lost weight. He looks like he's ready to go. He's going to have to be ready to go this year, because that team has truly, Zeke has truly lost some of that juice last season. He got paid, and a lot of people are thinking, well, maybe Zeke is paid. He's happy. He's comfortable. We'll see if the weight loss this season will make him a little bit quicker and a little bit more dangerous. But back to Dak. Dak is ready to make things happen in Dallas. And I'm going to go ahead and throw this out there now. If the Dallas Cowboys wouldn't say win the NFC, but when Dallas makes the playoffs this year, because that's my thoughts on that, I think he's going to have one of the best years you've ever seen as a quarterback. And I'm going to say Dak Prescott will be in the MVP race, but he's my number 2. So if you're saying, whoa, one of the best seasons, we'll see. He's definitely going to impress you. Definitely one of the best Dallas Cowboys seasons you've ever seen. Dak Prescott is my number 6. Number 5, Mr. Russell Wilson, the man that has given me more heartbreak than I like. And as a Packers fan, he's hurt my feelings quite a bit. I'm not going to go too deep into those, but yes, he's broken my heart just a little bit. 4,212 yards last year, 40 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, 12-4 record on the season. Now, last year, he was the media darling. He was the guy everybody said, hey, he's going to be the MVP. Everybody wanted Russell to be the MVP. And Russell was looking that way, and then they had that little stretch where he threw too many interceptions, I would say. And I think he had a 4-interception game in there. Every now and then you'll get one of those from Russell. And so he had one of those games, and they lost a couple of games that they shouldn't have in that time frame. I know they lost to Buffalo, which now we knew Buffalo ended up being 13-3. But at the time, no one thought Buffalo was going to be that Buffalo, and they lost to that Buffalo team. So Russell Wilson, in my opinion, is a top 5 quarterback. He's always going to be in that mix. He's intelligent on the field. He knows when to run, knows when not to run. He's got mobility, and he's going to be a guy to watch out for this year. I think now that he's not getting the whispers of the MVP, he could be a guy that's in the race for the MVP this season. Next, my number 4, Mr. Josh Allen. Now, Josh Allen in this list could be my number 1. And my boy Jay Quimby will tell you, hey, you got a love affair with Josh Allen. I do, man. Like, I have seen Josh Allen in college, and I said, this guy is special. And that I knew that Josh Allen was going to be somebody that would go in there and do big things in the NFL. I still blame Cleveland for not picking him at number 1 or even number 4 when the time came. But Buffalo got their guy. He's perfect for Buffalo. 45,000 yards last year. 4,500 yards last year. 37 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, a 13-3 record for Josh Allen. And what I saw from him last year was him take that leadership step. Like, he really took it to another level last season. And, you know, if you go back and look what he's done since he's come into the league, he's gotten better every year. Every year he's gotten just a little bit better. They were 10-6 the year before. They went 13-3. You know, they made the playoffs that second year he was QB. Then they, you know, make it to the AFC Championship last year. Maybe not the greatest showing. Maybe not the greatest showing, but he is in line, in my opinion, to be the MVP this season. I think he will be the MVP this season. So watch out for Josh Allen for year number 4. I think this is the year that, you know, he really becomes an elite, like a truly elite quarterback. Like, he had a great year last year, but the consistency will continue. And with Diggs there, the sky's the limit. Next, we've got on this list Mr. Pat Mahomes. This is the one I think I'm truly going to get beat up for. But regardless, Pat Mahomes is the most talented, gifted quarterback on this list by far. Young, talented quarterback on this list. Let me not disrespect everybody on here, but he's the youngest and probably most talented quarterback on this list. 4,700 yards last season, 38 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and a 14-1 record. And so that regular season loss didn't mean anything. It was that Super Bowl loss that I think helped me make the decision that he was number 3 coming into this season. He's on the Madden cover this year with Tom Brady. But I look at it and say that game, you know, we finally saw some flaws, or at least offensive line flaws for Kansas City. And, you know, normally we've seen Pat Mahomes make miraculous comeback after miraculous comeback. We saw the year they won the Super Bowl where they were down to Tennessee and then they made that great comeback and ended up going to the Super Bowl. But in my mind, during that Super Bowl, all I kept saying was, he's going to find a way to come back. He's Pat Mahomes. He's going to do it. He's going to find a way. And it never happened because that Tampa Bay defense was phenomenal. So the only reason why I got him at number 3, and I know it may not be a phenomenal reason in most people's eyes, is the offensive line. I want to see, you know, how he bounces back from that Super Bowl loss. And I want to see if that offensive line can protect him the way he needs to be protected to truly get back to where he was the year they won the Super Bowl. I'm just worried. I'm just worried about the offensive line and see if they can mesh well together to bring Pat Mahomes back to the Super Bowl this season. So we'll see what happens there with Pat Mahomes in Kansas City. Probably not the explanation everybody wants to hear, but that's all right. I'm just telling you, like, he's my number 3 coming in here, but easily he could be number 2. He could easily be number 1 on most people's list. Next, number 2, the reigning MVP, Aaron Rodgers. 4,200 yards passing last year. This is a beautiful, beautiful thing for this Packers fan. 48 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. The guy doesn't turn the ball over. He just doesn't turn the ball over. Pat Mahomes, you can say the same thing with his 38-6. Those two guys are just special. Arm talent special, just all around special. They make plays. And they always get compared to each other for that reason. They're just special. We actually going to finally get to see that matchup this year as long as either one of them are not hurt. We should finally see that matchup this year. We thought we would get a couple years ago and it didn't happen. So we'll finally get a chance to see Aaron Rodgers against Pat Mahomes, and we'll see what, who can make that thing happen. But like I said, I got him at number 2 because, one, he's the reigning MVP. And I feel like with everything that happened in the offseason, I wouldn't say this is a revenge tool. We've heard all of the last dance stuff, but I think this is where we see Aaron Rodgers come out there and try to push to really make this the last dance. And in order for it to be the last dance, you got to go win that Super Bowl, Aaron. And that's coming from this Packers fan here. So, if he goes out there and he can win the Super Bowl, great. But I do expect him to have another phenomenal season. His mindset is all about winning that Super Bowl. So we'll see if he can make that thing happen last year. Back-to-back 13 in 3 years for the Packers. Can he make that a 13-4 or a 14-3 record this year? It's going to be tough because they got a tough schedule on their hands, but we'll see what Green Bay can do, led by Aaron Rodgers. All right, now, ladies and gentlemen, we've hit the number 1 spot. I haven't named somebody on this list yet, so I kind of think you guys know where I'm going on this one, but it only makes sense. There's only one person that can be number 1 on this list, especially the way I got this thing unfolding, and that's Mr. Tom Brady. Tom Brady is the number 1 quarterback heading into the 2021 NFL season. And, I mean, it's just, to me, it's a no-brainer. Every year that you say, man, Tom Brady, what is he going to do this year? This is his last year of being great. There's nothing else he can do. Everything that I've ever heard about Tom Brady, including coming from myself, like this is going to be the year he falls apart. No, doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. Last year, I didn't think that they would win the Super Bowl. I thought that they would compete, and maybe this year would be that year that they have a good chance once he got, acclimated to his teammates. But guess what? Once again, Tom Brady proves me wrong. Super Bowl number 7. So, as the great Ric Flair would say, in order to be the man, you have to beat the man. Well, that goes for the rest of the quarterbacks on this list and in the league. In order to be the man, you have to beat the man. Hands down. Tom Brady, 4,600 yards passing last year, plus 40 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and an 11-5 record, helping the Tampa Bay Buccaneers get to the playoffs for the first time since 2007. And going on a magical Super Bowl run. Now, most people say, oh, it was the defense. But guess what? You got to have a guy that can run that offense, that can make timely plays and not make mistakes. Tom Brady, in a nutshell. There it is right there. Tom Brady, the number 1 quarterback on this list. All right, everybody. That is it for this one-on-one edition. The special that we had going on here, the Legacy Maker special for the top 10 quarterbacks heading into the NFL season. I don't know if you guys like my list or not, but that's all right. I don't really care about that. I'm just telling you what I know. Until they can figure him out, Tom Brady is the number 1 quarterback heading into this season. Regardless of who has got better talent, when it comes down to it, who's got the better quarterback IQ, who can make the better plays, who can make the smarter plays. There it is. Now, let's go one more time through our top 10 before we get off of here and the outside looking in. So first, with the outside looking in, you've got Justin Herbert, Big Ben Roethlisberger, Deshaun Watson, Matt Ryan, and Joe Burrow. Those are the guys on the outside looking in, the 10 guys that people could creep in and have phenomenal years. Watson obviously being the wild card, not knowing what's going on with his situation and if he will even play this season. Then we've got number 10, Ryan Tannehill. Watch out for him this year. Could another year, a 3rd straight year of getting Tennessee the AFC South championship and maybe beyond? We'll see. Baker Mayfield at number 9. Can Baker get Cleveland back to the playoffs for back-to-back years? Can they make an AFC championship run? We'll see. Number 8, Kyler Murray. And Kyler Murray, once again, is a guy I still think, he's still on that breakout run. Can Kyler Murray make things happen? Can Kyler Murray get this Cardinals team to the playoffs, especially in a very tough, very, very tough NFC West? Number 7, Lamar Jackson. Now, Lamar Jackson, you know how I feel about him. Amazing talent. Can throw the heck out of the ball. But can he get that number 1 receiver that I think he desperately deserves? Can Greg Roman finally get his foot out of his butt and finally open up this offense properly, we'll see if that can go down. Lamar Jackson, number 7. Number 6, Dakota, Dak Prescott. I think Dallas is the team that could shock people offensively. I want to pick them to go to the NFC Championship. I want to pick them to go to Super Bowl. Just don't know if I trust it. I just don't know if I trust it. But I think they can definitely make a run. I think they can definitely get in the playoffs, at least on offense alone. But they've got to figure out that defense. But Dak Prescott's going to have an MVP-type season, and he's number 2 on my list. Number 5, Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is Russell Wilson. He's going to keep that Seattle team locked and loaded and ready to go and be very competitive in that NFC West. Number 4, Josh Allen. He's the guy that I'm picking to be the MVP this season. I think he will be the media darling this year, just like Russell Wilson was before that string of interceptions. Watch out for Josh Allen. Watch out for the Buffalo Bills. My pick to go out of the AFC and win not win the Super Bowl, but at least go to the AFC championship and go to the Super Bowl. Number 3, Pat Mahomes. You've heard my concerns on Pat. Biggest thing this year, can that offensive line hold up? Can they protect him? Can we see the Pat Mahomes we've seen for the last couple of years? Will the Super Bowl loss affect him in a bad way or affect him and change things up in a greater way? We'll see. Number 2, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron, it's the last dance. Show us what you got, brother. See what happened. And number 1, like I said before, Thomas Brady. I mean, it's Tom Brady. You got to beat the man to be the man. As simple as that. All right, everybody. This has been your boy, Darrell Owens, Legacy Maker Sports Network. This has been One-on-One. This has been the Quick Ones edition, the top 10 quarterbacks heading into the 2021 NFL season. And before I get out of here, one last time, I want to show love to my guy, Andre Williams Bay. I love you, brother. This show was dedicated to you. And like I said before, we're going to do our best here in the Legacy Maker Sports Network to, live out the dreams that we had talked about and honor you that way. You rest easy, brother. We truly appreciate everything. I've been your man, Darrell Owens. I love you guys. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy football because it's coming, y'all. Let's go.
Welcome to the one-on-one. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth.